So while over 75% of South African youth say yes, they want a democratic government, not even 30% agree that this is actually what they are getting.
South Africans go to the polls on Monday, the 1st of November for the local government elections. But what role will the youth play in determining the outcome of those elections? Well, joining me to discuss is René de Klerk. She is an intern with the Centre for Risk Analysis. She's also an expert on democratic governance. René de Klerk, welcome to the Centre for Risk Analysis. Could you tell our viewers, what role do you think the youth will play in Monday's elections? Will we be seeing many young people going to the polls?
So the youth has been a notoriously difficult group to engage in elections and in election campaigning. Just for clarification, the youth is classified as those individuals between the ages of 18 and 35. And this group makes up over 50% of the entire population. So for the local elections on 1 November, according to the IEC, the youth accounted for 91% of new voter registrations. So while this sounds quite impressive, only a small percentage of registered voters are actually young people, and only a small percentage of those people are actually going to show up to vote when you look at voter turnout, which is on average about 66%. So for those people aged 18 to 29, which is a third of South Africa's population, only 20% of that group are registered to vote. So the real impact that the youth are going to have on the elections is to be determined. But when you look at the low level of actual voter registration and historically low level of voter turnout, which has been on the decline since 1994, the impact that the youth will have on the local government elections is probably not going to be as much as it could be.
Enjoying this analysis? Click here to sign up for our 30-day free trial for more content from the CIA.
Right, René. So what is this low registration number telling us? What does it reflect about young people's attitudes towards electoral democracy more broadly?
So this is quite interesting, and it seems paradoxical with regards to the low participation in kind of the democratic process and the demand for democracy. So on average, for the youth demographic in South Africa, 55% of this demographic group state that they're unhappy with the state of South Africa's democracy. This is according to Afrobarometer data. So this is quite interesting because this group has only really experienced democratic government under one regime. So while the majority of the youth are dissatisfied with our democracy as it is now, 75%, over 75% of the youth still say that democracy is their preferred form of governance. So you can kind of see it as a sort of supply and demand issue when it comes to the demand that they have for democracy and what they're actually getting. So there's a high level of demand for democratic governance, but what they're actually getting is less than satisfactory to them. 30% of the youth think that there is a full supply of democracy, which reflects how they perceive the extent and satisfaction with democracy. So while over 75% of South African youth say yes, they want a democratic government, not even 30% agree that this is actually what they are getting.
So René, it seems that there's a bit of a disconnect there between the aspirations of the youth and the reality of their experience living in South Africa. Why do you think that they are so disenchanted with the democratic process?
I think when you look at the youth's experience in regards to their democratic experience, it hasn't been good. Nothing good has come from it for them. And this is evident when you look at the fact that this age bracket of the youth is experiencing severe economic exclusion. So the youth make up for almost 60% of the total number of unemployed people in South Africa. And we know that unemployment is already a crisis. According to the Centre for Risk Analysis, just over 42% of individuals between ages 15 to 34 are actually economically active. So this means that they're either formally or informally employed, or they're actively seeking employment. Then it gets even worse when you look at the statistics from Statistics South Africa, which in the second quarter of 2021 indicated that over 44% of individuals in the youth age bracket were not employed or in any form of education or training. So this is 44% of the youth who are completely disengaged with the labor market. And to kind of compound this fact is the fact that unemployment rate among the youth is high, irrespective of education level. So graduate unemployment rate was over 40% for those aged 15 to 24, and 15% among those aged 25 to 34. So this is discouraging to those who are still in school or pursuing some form of post-secondary education. They're going to ask questions like, what is the point of going through further education or training if your chance of employment is still so low? It's not a motivating factor at all. And that's not even taking into consideration other issues with schooling, like infrastructure issues, the massive class sizes, and at the moment matrics who are writing their final exams and dealing with the reality of load shedding, which means that in our current stage 4, they don't have electricity for up to 6 hours of the day. So this just adds another kind of element that they have to deal with in an already negative environment.
René de Klerk, thank you very much for joining us on the Centre for Risk Analysis. Let's hand over to you, our viewers. Are you registered to vote? Will you be voting? If not, why not? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below, and do like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content from the CRA. My name is David Ansara. Until next time, take care.